We cannot absolutely completely cover everything over, but we do what we can. So Hannah has quite a bit of redness around either side of the nose and just across here. Can we all see that? Obviously any tiny blemishes we can go with as well. So we're just going to paint on first of all. I'm just painting it on. I can blend this in a moment to make sure it's a little bit less severe if I need to.
Really need to wax
So this is one of those things whereby your poor client thinks, my God, how many spots do I have?
Mine's really most of the face.
Well, that's okay. If it is, that's fine. This looks delightful so far. Just to blend it in. I do not want to blend it in so much that the colour disappears, because if the colour disappears, I've basically wiped it off again. Okay?
You should be able to see a little bit.
A little bit of a hint of colour, but if you imagine if I left it as it was, that would be really hard to cover with a foundation, wouldn't it? It would show through. Okay. So any patchiness,
Sorry.
poor Debbie, she's just amazed about makeup.
Made a difference though, hasn't it?
It has made a difference. I didn't say Janet did. Look at me.
I didn't say a word, Hannah.
Exactly, Janet. She can't speak for Janet.
Blue.
I hope there's not.
So just in the corners of the eye, this is a really common place in here. She doesn't actually have that much darkness under here, does she? But it's just in here where the skin is thinner and the blood vessels show through. Vessels, Debbie, blood vessels. I'm talking specifically veins.
You're somebody else, Lindsay.
Could you put
As
that
part of the
over
vascular
here
system.
as well, on the eyelid?
Wiping away the green residue. If you end up with thousands of brushes, you can change brush, obviously. Brush for every eventuality.
Huge.
It's not very nice, but it's done.
Okay, so a little bit of peach. Bit pop when you cross.
She was lovely. Everything looks so beautiful.
Now the lighting that we're doing this in is very harsh. There's a huge amount to make allowances for that. Remember what we said about the photographic, that things would always be heavier and darker. We're not going to do that because that's not what we're aiming for, but are different colours. Remember, not everyone is that colour, or that colour. We mix, remember, to get the shades we want. So again, if you are a real focus on makeup, or if you're working in a salon where they have a massive makeup range, you'll have a wide variety of shades like you would in the shops. But you can probably get near enough the right colour for most people from a mixture of these depending on amount. So a little bit of that one with more of that one, or whatever. So I'm going to just put a small amount of this in there first of all, and all we're going to do is see how close to her natural skin colour this is, and then from there we can decide, do we need it lighter, darker, what we're going to mix with it, or sometimes if you're really lucky it's just perfect first time. Okay. You are aiming for the foundation to be the exact colour, and you'll know if it is because when you rub it in it will disappear. So that is what you're aiming for. You're aiming to not be able to see it, which sounds really bizarre. Okay, so just turn your head as far that way as you can for me. So we've got a nice clear patch of skin here. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of that on her, and I'm going to try and rub it in. Now my point with that is, can you still see it?
Yeah.
Just sit up a minute, Hannah, for me, and turn your head. That has not disappeared into her skin. It's not far off. And then you can either use a spatula. Thank you, whoever was about to help me there. Hot bud, give it a mix. and we'll see how we go. So, it's fine. Just test a little bit more.
Yeah, that's better.
Can we see it? Has it disappeared?
Yeah.
Disappeared? Happy? Just start on the forehead. So you're going to put a little bit on and blend outwards. Always try and get it up to the hairline. And if your client has a headband on it, how many of you do this in facial? Cleanse everything and then they've got a bit of foundation left, or a bit of kind of bit that you haven't done. Especially if they've got a hairline like mine that's a bit like that. Okay? Okay. So we're going out to the sides. We're then going to come down the face. Why am I coming down the face? Why am I doing this way? I'm going to apply like this, down the face.
Because you're going to go into the neck.
I am, but that's not the reason. What have you got all over your face? Hair. So those vellus hairs, if you go up, it collects all the makeup. Very good.
I'm just like, give up. Like her.
Yeah.
Green
Don't
stuff.
know. That's what I was thinking. Green stuff.
Oh, God.
And it's so much like you're putting very light bit on, isn't it?
We're not caking.
I know.
Don't get like this when you get to
It's good though, isn't it?
too. I like it's like black, it's too pink. It's more natural looking now.
Yeah, it looks natural now.
Now we're bearing in mind I've got a slight mark here from where we tried the foundation that was too dark. So always try and get that blended in.
Really? You're off out there.
Really?
If anything exciting happens, we'll leave Hannah and go and look.
Yeah.
It's all round here, the sides of the ears and under that jawline, round the corners of the nose, through the eyebrows. It's not all collecting. Okay, so you're just checking those areas. This over the areas that still need some coverage. Can we see the green anymore?
No.
So that's a good thing, isn't it? So